This video was made possible by contributions to our Patreon campaign by viewers like you. Thank you. Logitech 1080p Webcam Showdown. Alright everybody, my name's Adam or Vox, and welcome to the Logitech 1080p Webcam Showdown. I am using 4 webcams. That would be this Logitech C615 1080p webcam, the Logitech C910 1080p webcam, which is no longer regularly made and sold, but you can still acquire for relatively cheap for 1080p webcam, the Logitech C920 1080p webcam, which has basically just replaced the C910, and then their new business grade one, the Logitech C930e 1080p webcam. I'm recording using Open Broadcaster software, a free streaming and recording software solution, simply because I do not like Logitech webcam software at all, and the C930e is actually made only to work with third-party software. You can still technically record with Logitech webcam software, however, only at 720p, and it gets a little bit finicky, and then I can't switch between the cameras like I do, so that's what you're given. As far as how they're set up, they are all mounted on my monitor here. I've got the C910 and C920 stacked on top of each other, the C930 next to it, and the C615 over on the right. And since it has a tiltable head, it's tilted a little bit more towards my face, so while they may be slightly different angles, they're still relatively in the same light. And then I have 2 sources of light. One is a clamp light mounted above me here, pointed mostly at the wall, and then a standing light over here up against that far wall over there. I'm only using these lights as any other more light starts to cause a lot of weird noise issues and can blow out my face. Like if I use my softbox lighting over there, it'll blow out my face and things like that. And so I'm trying to provide a neutral solution. I'm using all of these cameras at the stock settings. Yes, I do know, as it's been pointed out in my previous videos, that if you adjust the settings a little bit in the advanced configuration for the webcams, as far as white balance and brightness and things like that, you can achieve a bit better result. However, my lighting is constantly changing, and my general target audience for these videos aren't going to be in studio production lighting kind of setups, and so I want to provide the most grounded option of comparison for these webcams. I'm recording at 1080p at 30 frames per second. My phone just went off at about 25 megabytes per second. Now, as far as the intended value of these webcams, the lowest tier is of course the one you're seeing now, the C615. It has some really neat features, as it has a swivelable head. It does, I believe, it supports tripod mounting, which is a relatively new feature to Logitech, 1080p video, and an onboard microphone, of course. Next tier is the C910 and the C920. This is the C910. It's a bit older model. It still does 1080p. It's one of the first ones to come out with 1080p 30 frames per second. Has Carl Zeiss optics. It does not have tripod mounting. But it does have a nice monitor mount. However, for me, it covers too much of the screen when it's mounted on top of your monitor, which they have adjusted for in the C615 and the C920, in which they added a little bit of lip so the webcam's actually up off the monitor. In that same tier is the C910's replacement, the C920, which again does 1080p 30 frames per second, Carl Zeiss optics, and has a tripod mount. Now again, I'm running both of these at stock settings, and you can tell immediately the difference in the C910 and C920, as the C910 has a much more up-close image. It has a much shorter focal distance, whereas the C920 gives you quite a bit of a bigger picture, which is really nice. It's got a lot better lenses in it than the C910, and it actually looks pretty cool. In my opinion, the C920 is one of your best options outside of the business grade options for green screen. Now jumping back to the C615, it's about the same as the C920 as far as focal distance and how much field of view you have. However, the image quality is going to be a bit degraded, which we'll get into soon. And then you have the C930e, the new business grade one, which has the same monitor mounting as the C920 and C615 and also supports tripod mounting. It actually has a nice little privacy filter you can put on over top of it or just completely remove. Very nice Carl Zeiss optics. Stereo audio, whereas the C615 only has mono, and it has a 90-degree field of view, which provides a much bigger picture, a much wider picture for viewers. And this is especially good at further back focal distances, whereas the C910, C920 are all about up close, really short focal distances. The C930e actually excels for further back where everything's in focus, which is pretty cool. It's also 1080p 30 frames per second. However, one thing to note about Logitech webcams is your frame rate, which you can notice when it kind of, starts getting really blurry when you move around, is actually affected by your lighting situation. With great ideal light, you can actually get really, really smooth video out of the C910, C920, and the C930e, and sometimes even with the C615. However, with my current lighting setup, that involves completely just blowing out any of my skin because I'm so white and the lighting's really bright and really up close, but totally doable. As far as image quality is concerned, the C615 as a cheaper option if you get it on sale really, really cheap, or just get it from someone even, it's a great option for a cheap, affordable 1080p webcam. It's a 1080p picture, provides what you need for talking in front of the webcam. However, you will notice this kind of weird green shade over top everything, and it is very, very noisy. Like, it's struggling to handle all the black in my shirt and the black of my microphone pop filter here. And, again, for an affordable option, and it's actually geared more towards being a mobile kind of laptop webcam, it's a great choice. However, if you're looking to do very, very high quality production, you can see the noise on my shirt, not the best. And it's certainly not going to be good for green screens because of that as well. The noise is going to cause a lot of issues with chroma keying. The C910 is very, very high quality video picture. It provides 30 frames per second if you get the lighting right. And it doesn't provide it doesn't give any sort of like weird color issues. It actually has really, really great color, and you can play with the settings and get some really, really saturated color, or just mute it down and do it yourself in post editing. The focusing is really great. That was one thing I meant to mention about the C615, is the C615 just kind of has a keep everything in focus option, whereas the C910, you can actually get to focus on really, really up close things if you put it in the right place. You can it's hard to manage in the autofocus. You can, of course, set it to manual focus and do it yourself, but then you're constantly adjusting it instead of recording video. Again, like I noted before, the focal distance is really short. It's really kind of cropped in here, and it doesn't have the same kind of noise as the C9 or C615. However, it provides a really, really sharp picture. So still on certain black areas, and especially on this textured ball here, gets really noisy. Again, looks great, and you're not going to notice quite as much of that noise once it's uploaded to YouTube, but a complaint I had about the webcam. On to the C920. The C920 provides the best option out of the three that I've gone over so far. As far as picture quality goes, it handles blacks a lot better. You're still going to inevitably get some sort of noisiness and blackiness, but it's nowhere near as bad. They do a lot to actually, it turns down the sharpness a little bit, but it still looks really, really good. You have a much less zoomed in focal length here, and it does a really good job with the autofocus, as long as you're not trying to do really small things. I've used this webcam quite a bit for things that I wanted to focus on really small objects, and the autofocus can kind of be a pain in the butt. For example, if I put up this paper here, of course it's going to work fine just now, but then now it's not going to zoom back to my face. I'm going to have to bring it back myself. And just to be fair and do a quick comparison, focusing on the text on the C615 and back. See, since it does its best to keep everything in focus, it actually does it pretty quick. C910. It's actually a lot harder to get it to focus on things up close despite being already a zoomed in picture. Now moving to the C930e, my favorite of them so far, still handles blacks a little funnily, but a much better look than the previous webcams. Various image noise you're going to have based on, of course, your advanced contrast, white balance, and brightness settings, and your lighting in the room. I don't have as much lighting as I should, but again, I wanted to test them all on neutral grounds. So you're seeing a little bit of image noise, but it's nowhere near as bad on the microphone nor on my shirt. And you, of course, get the wide field of view here that is very nice. Colors are still bright and nice. Focusing is actually really great on this webcam in my experience. boom, and boom. Now, every once in a while, since I do record with talking with a mic, I run into some issues where it focuses on the mic, and if I get too far from the mic, then it's not focused on my face. However, for the most part, the focus works amazing on these lenses here. Now let's talk about audio quality. Audio quality has been a huge issue with Logitech webcams for me, and I don't know why. The C615 has been my favorite so far. However, I've not actually tested the C930e, so we're going to test that now. I'm going to play some audio clips for you, and we're going to see which one sounds the best. Real quick, this is my main microphone hooked up to my computer through my mixer board and my fancy audio setup. Next up is the Logitech C615 onboard mono microphone. This is a test. Test, 1, 2, 3. Next up is the Logitech C910 stereo microphone. Test, 1, 2, 3. Now we have the Logitech C920 stereo microphone. Test, 1, 2, 3. Test, 1, 2, 3. And finally, this brings us to the Logitech C930e 1080p webcam stereo microphone. This is a test. Test, 1, 2, 3. Test, 1, 2, 3. Oddly enough, if you're using the onboard audio on the webcams, I would say the C910 won this battle. The C910 both the C910 and the C615 have very crisp, sharp audio while still cutting out background noise fairly easily and fairly effectively. You hear your voice, it sounds loud, it sounds well compressed, and it will fit well for doing webcam recorded videos and vlogs and things like that. Now, the only difference really between the C910 and the C615 is the C910 does record with stereo 2 mics. That's not going to make a huge difference for the most part. You probably didn't notice a difference between the C910 stereo mics and the C615 single mic. However, the single mic did sound a little bit lower quality. That's the only reason I say the C910 won. C920 has some really weird audio issues. The audio just sounds really muffled and as if the noise removal, gate noise compensation is really just muting the audio way too much, and I don't like it. Unfortunately, the C930e does a similar thing. The C930e, however, is a bit more intended to pick up audio from further distances, so it's more trying to get the lower audio and bring it up, so when you have audio as close as this is, talking loudly, doesn't handle it very well at all. So if you're strictly, basing your options based on the internal microphones of the webcams, the C910 is actually the best option, and if you want combined with picture, probably the C615. However, best video quality wise, C930e without a doubt, but the C615 is the most flexible option you have available. It has rotatable head, tripod mounting, monitor mounting, 1080p, decent audio, and is pretty portable. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the best video quality despite being the most flexible, so you really have to figure out what your needs are for the webcam. C920 has second best autofocus, C930 has best autofocus, C615 has best just keep everything in focus, C930e has best overall image quality and field of view. So figure out what's important to you out of a webcam and make your decision accordingly. Links to all the products will be in the description below. I hope this video was informative and or helpful to you all. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Information about our social media and Patreon campaign to contribute to our channel will be in the description below, as well as the outro. I do hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.
Who won? Who's next? You decide. Thanks for watching Epos and Chew. Let's play together. If you enjoyed the video, consider clicking on the screen to contribute to our Patreon campaign. To watch another video, click on one of the video annotations on the screen above. Links are also provided to our website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. See you next time.